Hello, my name is Emily. I'm gonna be going over the module 7th assignment. We're giving various questions to answer and approach in a certain way that ourselves would not personally do, and refer back to the book as what do we have covered in diversity in the workplace. We'll also cover questions from the book dealing with distinguishing characteristics while also relating to them what we have found used in many companies. So firstly, we are asked to look through the case of Nevada versus Farmer of 1997 and to approach it through a deontological and teleological point of view. Before we go into the case, we have to understand what deontological and teleological mean. First off, deontological, according to McCombs 2021, is the ethical theory that is used of rules used to distinguish right from wrong. So this would be best set of morals or rules that should be followed regardless of how efficient they are, but more towards right rather than wrong. The teleological, according to Stopler 28, is a study of ultimate purpose of design of something in nature. This means that when something happens or someone does something, that there is a reasoning behind it. So when we approach the case from a deontological approach, then we would agree that the court decisions based on implementing the rules in place on equal pay. Everything has a first, so it's hard to stick with what is right to and wrong because those change quite often when you justify it by rules in place. Just because the rule says it is right does not make it solid, but from a deontological point of view, those rules would be everything needed for this case. The company did not follow the rules even though they had reasoning behind their decision, so it would still be wrong due to the rules being manipulated. I would agree that the initial court's ruling that approach up from that approach, and also with the Supreme Court's decision to not grant on the appeal. From the teleological approach, I would look at how the company had its reasonings and whether what they were doing during the hiring process was a justified reasoning and would benefit the company. Personally, even from that approach, I would make the case that the company did not have significant reasoning at all to go with the other candidate instead of her. And the outcome with going with the other applicant is so similar that they almost have the same work history and should be at the same similar work level. So that being said, would be no reasoning for her to be paid less or have a different salary compared to the white male coworker, as they share the same work history and have the same level of logic between the two. Next, we are to look at the company Watchmark Contel Corporation on how they outsource and looked at from the deontological and teleological approach. Outsourcing, especially in technology, has grown over the past few years due to labor and parts being cheaper to make outside of the U.S. From the teleological approach, would make sense to outsource because the action has many more benefits if they did not. A few of the major benefits are tax and cost of labor. This approach would not deal with whether it would be right or wrong to outsource, but be more focused on the benefits of the company would have from doing so. The company will save a huge amount of money alone on the cost of labor compared to being made in the United States. The United States isn't known for paying the best wages generally, but compared to other countries, it is much higher. US dollars are way more money in other countries, and a lot of people look forward to making American money compared to their own currency. Then not to mention the labor laws and unions and cause of the companies to pay more for safety and things like breaks and time off. From an average point of view, those would be standard things that you would think everyone would have, but outside the U.S., but that's not always the case. Then from the deontological approach, you would have a moral dilemma on whether it be right or wrong for the company to take advantage of other country workers. They would not be treated as well workers as if they were in the United States, as they have more liability. The best interest of the employees would not be thought of at all. It would just be all about producing the company's needs. They would be just a number and would have complied to the company's agenda. Then you can't argue that this creates jobs and aids both economies in the way, but more so one or the other. Then the real winner in the company for saving so much time and effort. Overall, it is much harder to make the case for teleological approach because for the company, they have a lot more reasons to do so. While the deontological approach depends on what aspect of what is right or wrong you would be referring to. From that point of view, for the company, it would be better to outsource, but from another, such as being for the U.S. growth and help the economy rather, then it would not. Next, we are asked to make an argument of how it is easier for employers to comply diversity legislation in Canada compared to the United States. Canada is, in comparison of the United States, is not as diverse and rooted in history of oppression. The United States has a population that is over 10 times larger than Canada, and the annual growth in compensation is also staggering. The U.S. has struggled to accept everyone and has been known to be racist and prejudiced, even to this day. The U.S. deals with the abundance of racism in all levels of society. Take the Black Lives Matter movement, for example. The integrity of policy to diversify in the workplace is still pretty new as well. The idea has been around for a long time, but the implementation is still being developed and applied. The difference in history is a major obstacle for the U.S. and would be a huge reason as to why Canada would find it much easier to apply programs to increase diversity in the workplace. Then the number of different religions or races in the U.S. is much higher than Canada. They also do not use race terminology where the U.S. they would. As for example, in Canada, they would use the term Black Canadian or African Canadian. The way Canada handles race is already a much higher level than the United States. There are still instances where Canada and the U.S. are still similar. The idea of diversifying the workplace is still fresh in Canada, as well as the difference in population is too great for the U.S. to make any real progress in comparison. The way the government is set up is also another factor that helps Canada beat the U.S. in this situation due to the size of the U.S. and how long it takes for them to change. The division of the U.S. between the people is far too substantial, and because of that, Canada should be able to implement the program much more smoother. Lastly, we are giving various options from the book exercise to choose a media source and answers that are given questions in the book. I chose to take 2 television networks and compare them on the messages that they are trying to convey. The 2 networks I chose are MTV and the Food Network. MTV, from my point of view, is an advertising to young and middle-aged generation, which can range anywhere from 15 to 40 years old, due to what they air on the channel frequently. They are often a mixture of new generation music, celebrities. Oftentimes they rerun old music or old TV shows that still has a sense of humor that can connect to the generation today. They try to appeal the viewers' entertainment needs while promoting their companies and individuals who are usually celebrities. You see commercials of celebrities with their clothing, their companies, just promoting that one celebrity and what they do. They try to hook the viewer on glamorized lifestyle for celebrities or musicians and sell you through that. Take, for example, like the Kim Kardashians. They try to sell clothing, alcohol, anything that they come up with. It goes through that channel and it gets broadcasted to all these younger people thinking, oh, hey, I want to live that lifestyle. Maybe if I do XYZ, I can have that lifestyle. They have TV shows. Now, when we think of the Food Network, it is not far from MTV as you would initially think. They have TV shows that aim to interest people through entertainment, but also through hunger. As humorous as it might seem, it works, and many people have found success there. People such as actors or musicians have made a leap over one spectrum of TV entertainment to another, and that is appealing for viewers' fascination in food. Musicians such as Snoop Dogg have created ludicrous means through Food Networks such as cookbooks or cooking products. In both companies, it is obvious that they aim to sell and promote products that would aid them financially. I believe these two companies share that and many others do not do as well. Finally, in conclusion, we have gone over various scenarios and point of views that we would have most likely to have not viewed otherwise. We have also used the approach to make arguments of both sides and help view scenarios such as two different types of entertainment companies and the benefits of what it shows and their reason behind it. Overall, the questions help me view the company strictly from business side and from the sides of endorsed morality. Thank you, and I apologize for any mix-ups I have said. Thank you once again. Have a good night.